Bijan Robinson's the best running back in the NFL.
Yeah, he definitely looked like it this one.
Welcome to Saturday versus Sunday. I'm John Barbin. With me is Jeff Dover. Let's talk football.
We're a couple of average football fans. We watch football, college and NFL football. We hope to earn your like and subscribe today. This is our review of the Falcons-Bills game. What are your initial thoughts?
Bijan Robinson's the best running back in the NFL.
Yeah, he definitely looked like it this one, like this game. He was that long run. It was 81 yards on one long run, which sort of pads the stats a bit. But then he still had on 18 carries like 90 yards or whatever, which was a solid day alone. So it was just really that the running to like what do they call it, the zone play seemed to work a lot, and it was because they ran that a few times.
He reminds me of Walter Payton. Like the smoothness and just his vision there. I saw an interesting interview with Barkley, and Barkley was asked who's the best running back. He's like, "Oh, it's Bijan. It's not me." He's like, "Yeah, He's like, I give myself credit for being a good runner, but he's special. Like just his vision, the smoothness of the way he moves." And I mean, this isn't news. Anyone who's watched Robinson, he seems to find his way through a mess better than any running back in the league. It's man, there's just not a lot of guys that look like that. He's got a little bit of that Le'Veon Bell, like kind of wait and then go, but he's fast, he's strong. His vision has to be the best in the league. James Cook has a bit of it too. I mean, they both looked really good today, but Robinson to me is at the peak right now. It's my God, he's good.
Well, and in terms of being like the best, he's also a complete back because he had 6 catches for 68 yards, right? So, and he was targeted 8 times. So that for like a scat back or a third down back, that'd be really good. But he's not only the bell cow in terms of getting a lot of carries, but also like one of the top receiving ones. So that was amazing.
So what was he, 250 yards of offense just by himself?
Yeah, it's a lot. Yeah, 70, so it's 240, give or take.
Right. So, I mean, this game to me is okay. So the construction of the Falcons team, I know there was a lot of offseason talking about, oh, what are they doing? They don't know what they're doing. They traded up for to get 2 defensive ends, and because the pass rush was like the worst in the league last year. Well, today it looked like some of that worked.
Yeah.
Last night,
they had 4 sacks and 3 tackles for a loss, but more than that was the pressure and like they had 6 QB hits, So that I don't understand. I never really understood. We talked about that in the offseason. I never really understood that take on it. Well, it's like, why would you get like 2 ends high in the draft? Like this was a defensive end heavy draft. Everyone had said that. There's a lot of talented, like legit talented defensive ends, and you took 2 of the best ones. What's wrong with that? If one of them hits, if one of them is an amazing talent, that's a good thing. So like, and you've just doubled the odds of trying. And if they're both great, that's even better. Like that, I didn't see any problem with that.
Yeah, and on top of that, the criticism the year before with Michael Penix, and it's like, oh, what'd you do that for after you had Kirk Cousins? Well, that also seemed to work out pretty well. And we called that. We said there's no way Cousins is lasting the season. I just loved Penix from college in Washington, even all the way back to Indiana, but in Washington, maybe I'm partial to lefties. I don't know, but he looked every bit the part as one of the best QBs in college. And I thought it was a smart pick. If he was still on the board, you have to take him. And they did. And now that seems to be working out. Same with the bolstering the defensive line seems to be working out. I mean, they dominated the Bills on both lines of scrimmage all game long.
Yes. Yeah, very true. And just another point about Michael Penix, like I think some draft people had him rated a little bit lower. He has a bit of a long delivery, which is always freaks people out because you need to get the ball out within like 1.5 seconds or something like that. So if you have a long delivery, that's going to be a problem. But his also signature quarterback play from college was that he's really accurate and he has a strong arm. So that, that's going to offset a lot of, if you have any other negative biomechanics, I guess, like because, and he showed all of it at this game. Like there's some really accurate on-time throws, and there's some long throws, like strong arm throws. Like he had it all. He was 20 for 32 for 250 yards and a TD. Like, and he looked like the better quarterback on this game.
100%. And okay, so he doesn't have that ultra fast delivery like Jaden Daniels, but his decision making is quick. He seems to be able to read the defense and know where to go with the ball pretty much right away, which makes up for if his delivery's slightly slower. He just knows where he's going, and he's got a cannon. Yeah. So, I mean, so
he played well.
Crazy to say he was for sure the better quarterback on the field.
I know.
And Jesus Christ, Drake London
looked amazing.
My goodness. And he's a slot. He's not really a outside one receiver. He plays out of the slot. That's got to be the most difficult matchup in the NFL because he's big. He runs routes like proper. And he goes, 10 receptions for 158. There's no one that really knows how to match up with this guy. And at the end of the first half, so this is part of the quarterback story, Josh Allen throws that pick with 7 seconds left in the first half. They run one play to London, and he's like an inch away from scoring to put them up by another touchdown. So that plus a missed field goal, this game should have been 34-14. Like this should have been an even worse beatdown than it kind of already was. Yeah.
No, just to go back to Drake London, like he was amazing. He was the passing game really in this game because no other wide receiver caught a pass. So, but listen, and we've talked a lot about it on this. This is a recurring theme on this program, which is you can't be one-dimensional, right? You can't just have one player or one like running the ball, not being able to pass it. You can't pass without being able to run the ball. And so this is a case where they're running the ball fine, but you need to pass it. Drake London was that answer. But also you could throw it to the running back and the tight end, and the other running back caught a pass. So that is enough passing to keep the defense honest. And then that's why part of the reason why the zone read, like in the running the ball, was still successful. So even though it's just one wide receiver caught a pass in this game, that's still a dynamic enough passing attack because London is so good. And Pitts and Robinson were also making up the difference. So that was really, that was the key part there. No, but to your point, this game script was really interesting. And that the right before the half was a really key series of events.
Yeah. And so, my God, that's crazy that London was the only wide receiver. I mean, that just shows you how important Robinson is. Now, Pitts is having a better season than the last couple. And man, if he can capture at least some of that rookie season burst that he had, and if this team can add one true wide receiver downfield threat, this would be the best offense in the NFL if they had one other like real to complement London, because he's not really the outside wide receiver. But if you have London as your number 2 and you had a true one on the outside with this kind of running game, and if Pitts continues to kind of come back to what he's capable of, Jesus Christ, this could get even better. But I mean,
no, and we've talked about that before. We're both from Florida. We're Kyle Pitts fans, and he has all the physical talents to be a dominant tight end, and it's just not happening. I'm not sure why. Traditionally, if you have an outstanding running back and an outstanding tight end, that is a terrifying defensive thing to stop, right? Because the line, like some of the same personnel that would be used to stop the running game would have to use to cover the tight end, and so that would be really hard to stop. But for whatever reason, he's not exploding as much as we think he should.
Yeah. Well, I mean, okay, so this is the Atlanta offense people think is possible, and this is why you draft Robinson. So here's the other side of so a couple of weeks ago I mentioned Krosky Merritt, the who's emerged as the number 1 Bill on the Commanders, getting him in the 7th round, and he looks every bit like a true number 1 running back.
Yeah.
It is the argument against drafting a running back high, and look at the type of production you can get only on a 7th round pick. But then Robinson looks like the best running back in the league, and you did draft him high. So this just makes it confusing for a GM, because you can get it in the 7th round, or you get this type of production out of the 1st round, but you don't always get this, even if you spend the resources on a 1st round. No. But man, did they ever nail it with Robinson?
Yeah, no, and that's right. The GM picking, if anyone was actually good at picking at the draft, like that's what turns teams around. That's what gets GMs fired or hired. Do you know what I mean? Like that is hitting on the draft is such a key thing, and there's no clear mechanism how to do it. Otherwise, everyone would do it. And there's there's surprises every year. That's the one thing that's consistent. It's like March Madness. March Madness is good every year because there's an upset every year. There's blowouts every year. There's Cinderella teams. The draft is like that. Someone's going to be drafted high and does terrible. Someone's going to be drafted low and does amazing. That happens every year, guaranteed. And so when that happens, it makes or breaks teams. Like we talked about last year, part of the reason why the Eagles were so successful is because of their draft picks on defense hit, and Atlanta this year both defensive ends look good in this game, like Pierce and what's the other one?
Walker.
Yeah. Both look good. Right. So there's something to that.
And the whole line is doing better because of their presence. And so it's hard to overstate how good this offense was on this game. They were perfectly balanced, 32 passes, 32 runs, 210 on the ground, 250 in the air. It's almost impossible to beat a team that puts up 200 yards on the ground and has an even distribution like that. I mean, the Bills were pretty even too. They go 24 carries and 26 pass, but 210 yards on the ground. Like this, they had the linebackers in a blender the whole night. They just there's nothing to key on, and that's why I think London was just tearing them apart because there's nothing to key on here because they're going to go over the top if you key on the run, and they can't stop the run. It's just that this is every coach wants this exact performance: 200 on the ground, 200 in the air.
Yes, you're exactly right. Like it's balanced. It makes it harder to defend when you don't have tendencies because you're effective at running and passing. That's the best thing. And it wasn't, I wouldn't say necessarily Buffalo's defense played poorly. Like they still had 2 sacks and 9 tackles for a loss, and there was 5 pass deflection. Like it wasn't a sieve defense. There was just Atlanta just out executed them. And Buffalo what didn't execute as well on offense, and also the turnovers killed them. So because they lost the turnover battle, and that was a huge thing. But so I know it was just hats off to Atlanta, because that was they're 3-2, everything's in front of them, I think, and they just outplayed Buffalo.
Yeah, and so if we go on the play-by-play here, we closed the first half. Atlanta's up 14-7, and like we said, inches away from going up 21-7 because of that last final play off the turnover. So actually,
hold on, you mean 28-7, right? Like they were up 21-7, and it could have been 28-7.
Oh, sorry, 21. Sorry, that was the end of the first quarter. 21. Yeah, they're 21-7. It could have been easily could have been 28-7 if London scored there. So
that's the note that I have here. Because at that point when it went to 21-7, London could have scored. It could have gone 28-7. Buffalo got the ball back. And I was like, now this could be a huge swing, because if that's 21-14 going at the half, that feels way different, obviously, than 28-7. That is a huge swing. And they got the ball back, and there's 3 plays and out. And you can't do that. You can't, that's not what a championship team does. You need to at least drive the ball, because then the Atlanta had a chance to also score again, and they didn't. They punted within 57 seconds, and then Buffalo had an interception and immediately killed it at the end. Right,
seven's right.
So those last 4 series, it felt like Atlanta or Buffalo didn't want to win the game. Is what it felt like at that point. Because that would have changed a lot at that. What the game script could have been.
And then so then coming out in the second half, Buffalo at least. Just
opening drive touchdown.
Okay. And that's what you expect a good team to do. You expect a good team to weather the storm. They got a little lucky with London not scoring at the end of the first half there. And so now we're back in the game, but that's it. They don't score again. The Atlanta defense just shuts them down for the rest of the game. And along the way there, Atlanta misses a field goal. So Buffalo's lingering, right? They're lingering. But Atlanta's defense was the story in the second half of the game. They completely shut them down. Now, and obviously it ends with Allen throwing that pick at the end, but that's like too little too late at that point. They're losing by 10. I guess theoretically there was some kind of magic end of game thing, which I guess you can't really say the Bills don't have it in them, but it would have been, they would have had to have
been more of a miracle.
Well, they would have had to have scored a touchdown there, then get the onside kick and all that sort of stuff. But it was this to me, it's just the Atlanta defense just showed up and completely shut them down in the second half here, and that's I mean, on top of how balanced the offense was, they just beat them in all phases, really.
Yeah, they did, and you're absolutely right about that. The game script there in the fourth quarter, because Atlanta, it's 21-14 in the beginning of the fourth quarter. They're about to get a field goal, which would make it a 2-score game, and it gets blocked. And Buffalo gets the ball back, and you're like, okay, here we go. It was 1-score game, fourth quarter. We got Josh Allen. Like, hasn't gone great. Hasn't been great all game, but like you could change it around now. Like this changes everything now. They go 3 and out. Atlanta goes 3 and out. Buffalo defense does what it has to. Buffalo gets the ball back. 3 and out again. 2 3 and outs in the fourth quarter. Like and at that point it was a 1-possession game. So you can't happen. So it's Atlanta's defense stepped up, but also Buffalo did not get it done.
Nope. And then Atlanta drives down, gets the field goal to extend it to 2 scores, and that's that. That's basically a wrap at that point.
The only other thing that I had also in the fourth quarter, I think that was one of the 3 and outs was it was 3-1, and Buffalo tried the end around, and it was the handoff.
Oh, and they fumbled the handoff too. That's another thing.
That was a disaster. And it's again, hindsight's 20/20. It's easy to play Monday quarterback, Tuesday quarterback in this case, where what the play would have been. They shouldn't have done that. Just hand it to Cook or something like that. But it really did feel like an end around wasn't the way to go at that point with that. So, but it really sticks out when it doesn't work. So.
Yeah, it is. I guess it's okay. So what can we say about both teams? We'll start with Buffalo because we want to finish with Atlanta. This is kind of concerning. Like the game against the Patriots that they dropped, it was them making mistakes in that game, right? They couldn't recover. The Patriots did not make mistakes. Like you said, that was a good defense too. That's a top 10 defense anyways, the Patriots right now. And Bills kind of got handled in that game. And here they really got handled. Yeah. And at least the turnovers here weren't as bad. I mean, they weren't good, but they weren't as bad. But again, sloppy here, fumble that end around to kill a drive, 2 interceptions that kind of ended any chance at the end of each half, and just got handled on the line of scrimmage. Yeah, which is really concerning.
Really concerning. Yeah. So looking back at they're 4-2. It feels like one of the weakest 4-2 teams that I could think of right now. Their wins were the Ravens, which all of a sudden doesn't look that good, the Jets, the Dolphins, and the Saints. Those are the teams they beat, and they've lost to the Patriots and the Falcons. So they haven't exactly beaten a good team yet, you could argue. And so that's really concerning. The other thing the last concern I had for Buffalo was that this was the personnel that they were worried about in terms of not being effective on offense. Okay. So I remember this is what the worry was last year. They're like, we don't have a really good wide receiver. We don't have a really good this. We don't have a really good that. And that's when Josh Allen was like, well, everyone eats, so we can string it around. And this game looked like they needed a Drake London. They needed someone to take over, that they could have 5 receptions or 8 and get you a first down when you needed it, and they didn't have it. And so this to me that's the other concerning thing. The first concern is the lines of scrimmage, like you said, but the next concern is this is the personnel problem. I don't know who the difference maker is on offense now.
Like perhaps Stephon Diggs.
Yeah, exactly.
Tore them apart last week.
Yeah. So is exactly right. I just think the concerns from last year were just 1 year too early. In terms of the personnel. So
now Palmer looks good, but I think he got dinged up there, and that might have affected. I mean, he had 2 receptions for 60 yards. He looked like he could have been one of those threats. And Shakir is, yeah, you're right. They're all kind of good, but who's the Drake London on this team? They don't. You're right. They don't have one.
Yeah, they had the 2 3 and outs the fourth quarter. That's the time when you're you got to go to our guy, the difference maker, and they didn't have it.
Yeah, so like how the Bucks have Ibuka now, and Justin Jefferson. Who's that guy that's just our guy's just going to beat you? At some point, it's not the plays, it's the players.
Yes,
and you're right. They're as good as Cook is. It can't be the running back in those situations. You do need some overwhelming outside threat, especially with Allen of all people.
Yes, that's the thing. It was especially when you have an MVP caliber talented quarterback.
All right. Well, okay. So then, Bills the ground is getting a little shaky under the Bills here. After you just did your quick assessment of how weak the teams are that they've actually beat, and they've lost the only 2 good teams on the schedule. And that's in hindsight, we know the Ravens are not a good team and not good defense either.
Yeah.
So, okay. So things are looking a little shaky for the Bills. They got to right the ship here because they got handled here. And on the Falcons side, do you realize they were winning the first game of the season against Tampa Bay with 2 minutes and 17 seconds left? They were in the lead in that game. And it was Emeka Ibuka and it was the Baker Mayfield, Emeka Ibuka MVP and potential offensive rookie of the year coming out party on that play. Like that drive was a big touchdown to Ibuka. I think he had 2 that game. And everyone's like, oh boy, we nailed one here. I mean, Ibuka, the Bills could really use an Ibuka right now. But they were in that game. They were winning with 2 minutes and 17 seconds left. And now we look back thinking, oh, you were hanging in there with Tampa Bay, who looks like maybe one of the best teams in the NFL. And they were still in position to tie that game. And then Koo missed the field goal. And now he's not even on the team. So now we don't know if they would have won that game, but they easily could have. And that is a good team if they could have beat Tampa Bay. They hung in there, right? Yeah. So they're every bit as good as Tampa Bay in that game.
And their other wins are at the Vikings and the Commanders, right? So that those are good teams. So that's
and Buffalo now too. So right, so they inexplicably dropped that weird. I mean, you don't even know how to explain that Carolina one.
That's the only thing that stands out. But like, that's a weird, Anyway,
so this could easily be a 4-1 team with the 4 wins being Buffalo, Washington, Minnesota, and Tampa Bay. That would be one of the better resumes in the NFL right now. So they look good. Arrows pointing up for Atlanta. It seems as though. They're just headed the right direction here. And next week, or next game is, I guess it is, next week they've got San Francisco.
Yeah, and Buffalo's got an off week, which was pointed out to me earlier today by the Associate Dean in Fine Arts. Shout out Haiti.
Oh, there you go.
So that's good.
And who even knows who's going to take the field for San Francisco? Who's even left on this team? Like now that Fred Warner's out,
I heard you got a call that you might need to strap it up for the Niners.
Strap it on there get the cleats out and the old helmet, the old leather helmet. We're not that old. Not that old. But San Francisco is definitely a patchwork now of Band-Aids, so that they're gettable. Not like they weren't before, but man, now they're missing the heart and soul of the defense. So now that Bosa's gone, Warner's gone, Kittle's still out. Who knows who's going to play quarterback, either Purdy or Mac Jones? Actually, that's the only position where you have confidence, right? Because it doesn't matter who's in there; they both play well. All of those receivers are still out, so that team is ripe for the pickings. And then Miami's just a complete disaster. So really, their next 2 games are totally gettable for Atlanta, and then the next, if you want to call it, the 2 real tough ones coming up are New England and Indy after that. So it's. They're headed in the right direction at the right time. Let's say it that way. And Buffalo's headed in the wrong direction right now.
Yeah, and Atlanta needs to in order to keep pace with Tampa, who is all of a sudden world beaters. So they when they don't see them again till way later in the season in December. So that's could be a really key division game late between Atlanta and Tampa.
Well, this could be one of the years where the South sends 2 teams.
Yeah,
if they keep going, it's.
Well, and the last thing I'll say is that, and you've mentioned this before. It's really, that's one of the great things about the NFL is the exciting new young talent. Like it's just something about it. It's like they get tired of watching the same thing, like Mahomes be successful all the time, or but it's not there's anything wrong with Mahomes. We're at the game, last week. Watch our Kansas City Detroit review if you haven't listened to that already.
Yep.
But it's something about like Robinson, the 2 defensive ends, Drake London, Michael Penix. Like it's exciting to see them do well. It's exciting to watch Atlanta Falcons football right now.
Totally. I think it's because like we watch so much college and the turnover in college is so rapid. Like you only ever see a player on a team 3 or 4 years tops, whereas in the NFL
now even less.
Right. But in the NFL, 20 years straight of Tom Brady, it's like, oh, enough already. Like, I know he's good. I appreciate how good he is. Just anything different. Like for about 25 years, your AFC choices for the Super Bowl representative were Tom Brady, Peyton Manning, and Ben Roethlisberger, something like that. Like that's all for 20 years, that's
time.
all you saw in the Super Bowl. And I don't know, maybe who else would even have been in there? It's just it's kind of just getting repetitive. Like, let's see somebody else. And then now it's Mahomes. Mahomes taking up that thing. He just occupies the Super Bowl like he's always the AFC representative. So it's fun to see something different. People just don't want to see the same thing over and over again. So maybe Atlanta can shake up the apple cart here.
Last line I had for today, shout out Felipe Franks, who was average to below average quarterback at UF, who's listed at tight end now at Atlanta, had 2 tackles and 1 carry for 2 yards. So quite the way to use multi-purpose Felipe Franks.
Yeah. Is he the next two-way player here? What's going on there?
I'm assuming those are special teams, but I don't know.
Yeah, probably.
Hats off to him, though.
I mean, if you're a football player, you're a football player.
Exactly.
All right, is that everything on your list?
That's it for me.
All right, so well, we appreciate you being here. If you're still with us, we know our channel's small. We just started it last year, so if you want to support us, a like and a subscribe will go a long way to helping us grow the channel, and we'd super appreciate it. So for Jeff Dover, I'm John Barbin, and that's your Saturday versus Sunday podcast.